It is now 12:29. We are standing by. Remember, coming up 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. on the road to success today, we are journeying with educator extraordinaire, principal of the Golden Grove All-Age School in St. Anne, and astute leader, Jason Simpson.
Mad something. Everybody know where it's in. Hey, upset. See how upset
Jason Simpson is an educator extraordinaire, a principal, and an astute leader. From the classroom to a role in leadership, Mr. Simpson is the principal of the Golden Grove All-Age School in St. Anne. He graduated with honors from the Sam Sharp Teachers College, first-class honors from the International University of the Caribbean, and has a certification of distinction in leadership, supervision, and management from the University of the West Indies. Mr. Simpson is indeed winning right now. Recently, he was nominated for Principal of the Year 2021 by the Ministry of Education through its regional office. Today, we journey with Jason Simpson on the road to success. Mr. Simpson, welcome and thank you so much for taking time out to join us and share your journey.
Thank you so much for having me, Tashima, on your program. I'm really delighted to be here with you.
Awesome, awesome. And, you know, for persons who are listening today, you know, I know normally when we think of principals, you think of somebody that is way older. But can I tell you, Mr. Simpson is a young man, and we'll be journeying with him today. Now, let's start with your foundation, Jason. You were born in St. Anne. You went to Kingston as a child. What was it like growing up in both parishes?
Well, I was born in Chalky Hill, St. Anne. That is a little district between Steertown and Davistown, going towards Monee. And I can remember that it was a close-knitted country community. Everyone knew everyone. I went to the village school with my siblings. They're in Chalky Hill All-Age School. And growing up in the country was quite an adventure for me. There was never a dull moment when it comes on to fun and play. The rivers were frequent spots for us to visit, catching fish, shooting birds, picking apples. You know, these are some things that I liked doing as a child in the country. But at the age of 9, you know, I went to Kingston. I lived with my grandmother and my cousins in Cassava Peace and Constant Spring. And, you know, the dynamics were very different. The hustle, the traffic, the shared difference in community culture was definitely not the same. And so I went on to Constant Spring Primary and Junior High School. I spent some time there, and I began to learn the ropes of Kingston living, you know. I would often help my grandmother at the shop. She had a shop there at the Constant Spring Market. And so I quickly, from a young age, you know, learned the dynamics of how to operate a shop, inventory, pricing, replenishing
young
goods,
entrepreneur.
and so on. So, yes. So my leisure time was doing that. And if it was not that, it was going to church with my cousins, because my grandmother was a firm disciplinarian in the strictest sense of the word, you know, and I can remember a buzzword was, you know, birds of a feather flock together, show me your company and tell you who you are, and things like those. And, you know, it was her method of keeping us safe, keeping us in the yard and so on. So there were definitely some plus in growing up in the country and in Kingston.
You know, listening to you excuse me, share those aspects of your story. I mean, I know it's bringing back memories for a lot of Jamaican children growing up, and especially persons who are not growing up in the now generation where everything is inside
Right,
and gadgets and that
right,
kind of thing. But
right, right.
what would you say are you speak of your grandmother, you know, being a very firm disciplinarian and going to church and in between the two spaces, but what would you say are some of the values your parents and guardian passed on to you that still resonates with you today?
Well, I would say resilience, determination, commitment, and trust in God. I'm the second of seven siblings, Kishima. My mother
Wow.
had seven of us. Her name is Daisy Murray. She was a single parent. She operated a craft shop inside of the Otres Craft Market. And it was definitely a challenge for her to provide for us. And so she taught me how to be resilient and that the struggle is never the product. The struggle is always the process, and that there's a goal for me to achieve. And so sending us to school was her number one priority on the list of many priorities that she had. And so she was very resilient in ensuring that we attend school every day, except of course if we were sick. I saw her sheer determination when it comes on to providing, you know, us with meals and to go to school. She would work every day, get up extra early on cruise shipping days to ply her trade there at the craft market, you know, and I can remember on weekends I would be there with her learning the business too. She showed me what contentment looks like, you know, being satisfied with the little that we had, and to remember that, you know, you don't have to possess everything in order to make something of your life. You know,
So, Mr. Simpson,
I remember the days when, you know, I take lunch to school when there's no lunch money, and I often walk to school as well. In those days, you know, there weren't many taxis. We walked through what they call the common or the play field, through the bushes to get to school. And so I learned to appreciate the little things in life.
and
And then,
as a youngster, what I want to ask you is like, you know, seeing hands on and getting this first hand experience of what your mother is going through and her resilience, and you being there with her by her side, sometimes helping in the craft market. As a youngster, a teenager, what did that do to you, especially when you had to go to school and you know you don't have the luxury of idling? Were you able to process what was happening and channel it in a way where success and a better life was what you were seeing for yourself? What was that mindset like for you?
certainly, I think for me to see what life is really like. Life for me back then was not a bed of roses, and making the transition from the struggles that, you know, I faced as a child was something that I was determined to escape. And in order to do that, I had to try to do my very best in school. I recognized quickly that education was the vehicle that is going to create that sort of transition. And so while being by her side, that was my focus. You know, of course, in those days, you know, they tell her that, you know, reading make it a man, manners take you through the entire world, and things like those. And so those are some of the ideology that really drove me into becoming the person that I am today.
No, you attended the Taki High. Share with us a life changing moment you experienced during high school.
Well, for me, my life-changing moment, I think, occurred prior to high school. And I'll share with you, I I went to two primary schools, as I said earlier, Chalky Hill and Constance Spring Primary Junior High. And I believe because of the shifting environment, it didn't allow me to make the adjustments needed for that firm educational foundation. And so I remember my first sitting of the then primary exit exam, common entrance, I'm sure you can identify with that. It wasn't
Yeah.
PEP and it wasn't GSAC, it was common
Right. Common
entrance.
entrance. Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
Mr. Simpson, I can.
yes. And so my cousin and I, Tibsy, we were in the same class, and he passed for Jamaica College and I didn't.
Wow.
And I was confused because we studied together, we played together, we're in class together. And so I felt then like a failure. But then I heard of an entrance test that that would give me a second shot at JC. And so early the morning, I boarded the 32 bus from Constant Spring to Halfway Tree. I walked from Halfway Tree to Old Oak Road.
Wow.
And I made it in time for that exam. And believe you me, Kishima, I missed the passing mark by 1 mark.
What did that do to you?
Well, it really caused me to recognize the importance of 1 mark, and that life does not give you handouts. And so I always encourage my students and my teachers and my children, I have 3 kids, that they should always give their best the first time, and that 1 mark could be the difference between success and failure. But coming from that, all was not lost. I continued my educational journey in St. Mary. I went to Taki High. The teachers were
Good
extremely
school.
supportive and was truly inspiring there. I remember Miss Newland, Mr. Johnson, my geography teacher, Mr. Conville, my chemistry teacher, Miss Stanford, Mrs. Redwood. And so my achievements there at Taki High allowed me to matriculate for Teachers College. And so I think for me, that was really a life-changing moment that really, created the person I am today.
But after Taki High School, you actually did several jobs before you entered into college. Now, during this period, what was it that planted this seed in your heart that, you need to pursue a career in education, and how were you able to pull away from what you were doing and not be consumed or caught up and led into a different direction?
Yes. Yes. So after high school, I worked for a little while at the craft market and with my mother, and she would say, "Boy, this is not for you. You have to do something else." So, of course, the expense associated with tertiary institution was a big hindrance for me and my family. So my mother sent me to Adams Catering School. That's one of those hospitality schools there in Buckfield. And while there, I remember a teacher. She's retired now. She was the vice principal of Orokabesa High. Her name is Miss Campbell. And I remember Miss Campbell saying to me one day in class, "Why are you here? I can understand the other person's been here, but tell me, why are you here?" And that question came as a result of my performance there. I was able to handle myself, the assistance that I offered to the other students that were there. She saw something in me, and she was the one who suggested that why not try for Sam Sharp Teachers College and see, if you are able to get in. You have this subject, so why not go for it? And so I think a bulb turned on there in my mind, and I went to my mom and I explained the situation, and she was nervous about the cost and all of that. But, I remember my grandmother always said to me in devotions in the early morning. You know, what is for you can't be on for you. You know, you have to work for what you want, and you have to push. And if you don't try, you will never succeed. And so we tried for Sam Sharp, and thanks be to God, we got through. You know, and that began my teaching journey.
That is absolutely awesome. And, you know, from Sam Sharp Teachers College to the International University of the Caribbean or the University of the West Indies, received several academic accolades. Now, you graduated with first class honors distinction, and you were even awarded for your excellence in the teaching practicum. And you're still a young man. As young people, young adults, there are a lot of distractions on our journey on the road to success. What was your source of inspiration that kept you going? And did you have moments where, you know, you were just simply distracted?
Well, my inspiration was always remembering where I'm coming from, and understanding the reality back at home, and that being in college, I have now the opportunity to be a better person. I have the opportunity to make my mother proud. And so this driving force really propelled me through college. I remember the times when my mother was not able to pay all the fees, and in those days, you have to pay the fees in order to start the semester. And I remember the principal back then, Mrs. Walden, she would say to me, you know, we don't normally do a payment plan, but you are quite a performer, and we are going to, you know, put you on a payment plan, and provided that you're able to make the payments before the exams, then everything will be okay. And so, Kishima, one of the things that I was determined to do is to ensure that I never put the money to waste that was invested in me. The college also had sectional cash prizes for students who did well and excel in the exams in terms of results. And that would also assist me with my tuition fees and so on. And so I would seek to ensure that I would get all the prizes.
Every opportunity.
Yes. So, and that was easy for me, because my determination is way up there. And if it is something that must be attained, I'm going to go and get it, you know. And that was really an inspiration for me to make my mother proud and to be the first teacher in my family, you know. And so I have to give God thanks for that.
But, you know, as you mentioned your mom and making her proud, you mentioned earlier that, you know, when you went to her initially, when the light bulb went on in your head, and this is the journey that you want to take on. And, you know, financially, she know that, look, this is not something that I can sustain. Having received the academic accolades and doing what you set out to do, what was that conversation like with your mother?
Well, you know, she really committed herself to say, listen, I will give you what you need, you know. I will do my very best. And one of the ideas that she immediately thought of was to contribute to what they call a partner. You know, everybody throw a hand, and at the end of a certain period of time, you get your hand, and that would give you a tidy sum of money to put towards any project. And in this case, it was an investment in her son. And I thought to myself, if she's willing to do this for me, I'm going to make her extremely proud. And so it was a very conscious, reassuring, and at the same time, she had expectations of me in return, in providing a return on her investment. And so I would say to people, you know, if you're listening, that there's always an opportunity for you, and it doesn't matter how you struggle at the start or during the process. Always have your goal in mind, and it is something that can be achieved. Once somebody has achieved it, it is possible for you to achieve it as well.
Wow, that is just awesome. Now, let us look at Jason Simpson, the young adult at 22 years old. You're teaching grades 4 and 5 at the St. Anne's Bay Primary School. Just about half your age. Your students are just about half your age. Take us back to this defining moment on your road to success.
Well, Kishima, that was quite an exciting encounter. I remember when I started teaching, it was the year 2004. And I got a batch of grade 4 students. And, yes, I was young to the profession, but guess what? My story inspired them. And every succeeding class that I got from there, I would tell them my story. I will let them know that, listen, the best is yet to come. I will let them know that potential lies within everybody. And so they quickly began to admire me as a young person. And, they're realizing that, listen, in the next 10 years from now, I could be in Mr. Simpson's shoes, I can do what he did, and so having your priorities right, and giving your very best were some key instruction points of inspiration that I would have communicated in my discharge as a teacher there at St. Anne's Bay Primary.
Now, your journey as principal saw you in leadership roles at the Muirhouse Junior High School in St. Anne, and now the Golden Grove All-Age School, also in the parish. While you were a teacher, Mr. Simpson, who planted that dream in your heart? Because being a teacher, that is a solid profession. What inspired you to say, look, I want more. I want to do more. I am going to go higher. How did that started?
All right. I remember being a teacher in grade 5. I had a supervisor by the name of Rosemary Forbes. Mrs. Forbes was very supportive, and she would often seek to build my personal capacity in the role of leadership, and she saw something in me. I remember a staff meeting, a young man came from the ministry and he was presenting, and I was asking certain questions, and pretty much the young man was saying to me, if you are in a certain position, that is being in a more strategic position or of a more policy-making position, then even some of your ideas that you're suggesting, could become easier in terms of being realized. And so the thought of leadership, the thoughts of being a principal began to emerge in my mind. And so I had applied for what is called an aspiring principal program through the National College of Education and Leadership, NCEL, and I got a scholarship. Yes, I got a scholarship to participate in this program to become a principal. While that was really exciting, the program classes, they were on Saturdays and on Sundays. And so being a Seventh-day Adventist, that was very concerning for me. Yes. And so I wrote them and I told them of my situation. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm willing to make up for the time, some of the time, but I'm not going to be able to participate in the program on a Saturday. And they wrote back to say, unfortunately, they're not able to make the adjustment and so on and so forth. But, I had a wife. Well, I still have that wife, Shanika Hamilton Simpson. He has been very supportive of me, Kishima. And she would say, listen, Jason, what is for you will be for you. And you don't have to worry about that. If you are to be a principal, you will be a principal. And believe you me, Kashima, 1 year after being a principal, that said program came around, but it was captioned the Effective Principal Program. And so I went ahead to get that program done, and I did it, and I was successful. I was certified even as a principal for the program and was awarded. You know, so God works in mysterious ways, and when one door closes, another one is open. And if another door is not open, maybe a window is open. So we may fail at times, but we are not going to give up. We can only learn from our failures, and ultimately we will become successful.
Wow, that is just an amazing story, and a reminder that us as a people, sometimes you really and truly just have to keep the faith and believe in your journey, and trust that inner voice that is telling you that, look, all is not lost. And lucky for you, you had a wife, you have your wife who poured positively into you in that moment.
Yes.
But I mentioned earlier the Muir House Junior High School in St. Anne, and now the Golden Grove All-Age School also in the parish. What has been your greatest contribution so far to the schools that you have worked in the capacity as a principal?
Well, I think I've made a lot of inroads in terms of building the capacity of my colleagues, the teachers that I work with, working with the students, ensuring that they are performing optimally. I remember while at Miros Primary and Junior High School, my wife and I would pack the kids in the car, and we will go up on a Sunday, and we will have classes with the students there. And we saw the need for that because the literacy level back then was pretty low. And so we wanted to put Miros on the map when it comes on to school ranking and so on. And so we were very diligent, we were very deliberate in getting that done. And so our students, they did well in the literacy and numeracy exam at that time. They got 86% mastery in literacy and 100% in numeracy. And it was because of our effort. Being at Golden Grove as well, I brought the same energy, enthusiasm to the workplace. I've inspired my teachers, my stakeholders, and my students. And, you know, through partnership with the Lidford Mining Company, there in the community of Golden Grove, we started an initiative called the No Boys Left Behind. And we sought to do this because we recognized that, you know, the girls were outperforming the boys, and we wanted our boys to come on par with the girls. And so through the company that is Lidford Mining, you know, our teachers received a stipend to do a lessons class with them. Their textbooks were purchased, and, you know, every now and again we have to give a report. And, you know, we were able to see the fruit of our labor, and our boys.
On that note,
really...
On that note, Mr. Simpson, we're going to break for cash pot, but we're going to come back to that because I want you to expound a little bit more on this No Boy Left Behind initiative at the Golden Grove All-Age School. But to our listeners, if you're just joining us, you are missing a whole lot. It's all about season 4 of Road to Success, the journey. Right now, we're journeying with educator extraordinaire, principal of the Golden Grove All-Age School in St. Anne, and an astute leader, Jason Simpson. Listen up, your top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick and cash pot. Lunchtime draws up next.
When me use Island Fresh with aloe vera, it make me skin so much smoother. So if you want to feel better and smell fresher, use Island Fresh with aloe vera.
Manufactured by Island Products, 934-0666.
The time is...
It is now 12:59. We are standing by. Listen up your top draw dollars. Pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cashpot lunchtime draws up next.
Everybody feel irate when they listen to
See how upset Score outside, on. I'm with them. You know they don't. I'm a man. Mad something. Hey, follow me now, I see you now. Hey, upset
reggae radio.
See how upset Score outside, on. I'm with them. You know they don't.
This is your lucky day. Get your tickets out and let the games begin.
Good afternoon. It's Thursday, February 3, 2022. I'm Jolene and welcome to this afternoon's Supreme Ventures live game draw. Now, before we begin, here's a quick look at our mid-morning winning numbers. Remember, all Supreme Ventures live game draws are being supervised by the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission and observed by the independent auditing firm PwC. Now, let's put some money in your top draw tonight. This afternoon's jackpot is $600,000. Here are the winning top draw numbers and good luck. And the first top draw number for this afternoon is 21. The second top draw number is 17. The third top draw number is 7. And following 7, we have 3. And the final top draw number for $600,000 is 22. And now let's pick your play with our dollars game. I hope you're feeling lucky, so get those tickets out. And the first winning dollars number for this afternoon is 29. The second winning dollars number is 18. The third winning dollars number is 24. And coming down slowly but surely, we have number 4. Next up is 17. I hope you have your tickets out because here comes number 21. And following 21, we have 30. Next up is 8, and coming down we have 32. And I'm ready to wrap the dollars game up with numbers 20, 22, and the final dollars number for this afternoon is 36. Now for some easy winnings with our pick 2 game. Let's play. And the first pick 2 number is 5. The second pick 2 number is 3. Once again, the winning pick 2 numbers are 5 and 3. Mega your pick is here to stay. Now you can continue to mega for bigger winnings with pick 3 and pick 4. Stay tuned. 1 mega ball draw will be done for pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cash pot. Up next, you can play 3 ways. It's our pick 3 game. And the first pick 3 number is 1. The second pick 3 number is coming up is 9. The third and final pick 3 number is 2. Once again, the winning pick 3 numbers are 1, 9, and 2. It's time to turn up your winnings, so get ready for pick 4. And the balls are bubbling up. The first pick 4 number for this afternoon is 0. The second pick 4 number is 6. And the third pick 4 number is 0. And the fourth and final pick 4 number is 5. Once again, the winning pick 4 numbers are 0, 6, 0, and 5. It's easy for win, so let's heat things up with hot pick. And the winning hot pick number is 5. Congratulations to all hot pick winners. Again, the winning number is 5. Cashpot Money Trainer on, and every week is a Mr. Prize. For this week, you can win $290 for every $10 winning Cashpot bet. So board the train and collect your winnings. Let's get ready to play our cashback game for Thursday, February 3, 2022. You live to play it, but can you win it? Get ready to be a big cashback winner. Let's see what the winning cashback number will be. And this afternoon's winning cashback number is 18. Congratulations to all cashback winners. Again, the winning number is 18. It's now time for some mega winnings, so good luck. And what do we have for the afternoon draw? It's coming up. And what will it be? Get those tickets out, and a white ball has been selected. Go Mega 6 times per day for more chances to win big. Again, the winning cash pot number is 18. The lucky mark is racehorse, and a white ball was selected for pick 3, pick 4 cash pot, and hot pick. Now let's take a look at this afternoon's winning numbers. Congratulations to everyone who won. Join us again at 3 p.m. for more games you love to play. I'm Jolene. Have a supreme afternoon.
Hope you were a big winner. Play your favorite Supreme Ventures games every day and tune in for our live draw 6 times a day at 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8:25 p.m. on this station. Supreme Ventures, making winners every day.
That was the lunchtime top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cash pot draws. Congratulations to all of today's winners. Join us again at 3 p.m. for another chance to win in hot pick and cash pot special pot draws. If you're just joining us, we are journeying with, of course, Mr. Jason Simpson on the road to success. He's an educator extraordinaire, principal of the Golden Grove All-Age School in St. Anne, and an astute leader. Now, Mr. Simpson, before we went to the cash pot break, you were in the process of talking about the the brilliant initiative at the Golden Grove All Age, No Boy Left Behind, which assists young boys that struggle with illiteracy. Now, tell us about the program and its effectiveness. Is it working? Are you seeing where the boys are now on par with the girls?
All right. So as I was saying earlier, it was really conceptualized between the Litford Mining Company, and its managing director, or one of its managing director, Mr. Sam Millington, and it was geared towards improving the literacy and numeracy levels of our boys. We started about 2017-18, and we continued all the way up to 2019 prior to the pandemic, and it was working beautifully. We see improvement in the performance of the boys. We see improvement in their reading, and we saw improvement in their numeracy levels. Since the pandemic, of course, we had to do school online, and so there was a pause on the program, and it is something that we're definitely looking back into, because we saw where our boys were, in fact, benefiting from this initiative. And so if there are any other donors out there who would love to partner with us in support of this initiative, we just want to use this opportunity, Kishima, to welcome them on board, and they can be a part of the success here at Golden Grove All-Age School.
Even listening to the start of your story, many Jamaican families don't plan beyond high school. And the reality for many children is, after high school, there is no college fund. For parents out there who are listening, what can they do to change this narrative?
So what I'll say to all the parents out there, be the biggest supporter for your child. Be the biggest cheerleader. Put plans in place and do forward thinking. It is not enough for them to just pass through primary, secondary school, and that's it, and into the place of work. A little forward thinking is important, and the effort that my mother put into me, it is something that can be replicated in many of the homes here in Jamaica. I believe that thought must be given to the well-being of your child, and do what it takes to make it a reality. You don't have to start off big. You don't have to start off having everything. All the resources to support them, but the start is what is important. I can tell you that when you start something, it's easier for you to see yourself through it, rather than thinking about the end goal, the product, and thinking about all the struggles that you perhaps might face in getting to point B from point A. That sometimes can be discouraging, but when you work incrementally, step by step, little by little, it will happen. It will happen. So my encouragement would be invest in your child.
Very, very, very powerful. I really hope that parents are listening and they have written down, memorized, or will take that piece of gem into consideration. You know, you are very passionate about what you do. And I can imagine as a young principal, you will have teachers who are older than you are and perhaps more experience as it relates to the teaching profession. How would you describe the relationship between your teachers and your students as a young principal, but pretty knowledgeable and capable, of course? But what's that relationship like?
I enjoy a wholesome professional relationship with my teachers. I remember, Kashima, when I assumed the post of principal of Mayor House, I was the youngest member of staff.
Wow.
Even the persons in the administrative office were older than me. But guess what? I brought sound professionalism to the table. I treated everybody the way that I wanted to be treated, with respect and with integrity and honesty. I seek to discharge fairness in every single thing I do. I try to find some time to think about things before I make a decision, because I mean, being in the leadership chair, every decision has its implication, whether for better or for worse. And so I learned quickly as a professional that as a principal, when you discharge your duty, it's important that you remain fair and you try to be professional in every single thing that you do. For my students, I try to be the role model that where they'd want to see themselves in the future. And so we enjoy a good relationship, a good rapport with our students. And, you know, they can certainly learn from my experience as a principal. If you come to Golden Grove All-Age School, all I have to say is tantum satis optim. And then everybody will reply, only the best is good enough. That's the sort of connection that we have. And they understand that everything that they do is about who they are, and they should leave no reserve in the tank. You know, do your best the very first time.
Now, Mr. Simpson, have you self-actualized, or are you planning, thinking of attaining more?
Kashima, I believe self-actualization is relative, just as success. And so what I would say is that I'm true to myself. I have no reservation. I always try to autograph my work with excellence, and I give of my very best. For the person who is listening out there, to be self-actualized or to be successful does not mean that you have to have an accumulation of wealth or you have to be the possessor of many properties or anything like that. I would say to that person, just be yourself. Don't say you wish you had done more. Do your best the very first time and connect with others. You know, treat people with respect and always remember where you're coming from.
Now, education is vital, yet not free for all, right? With your over 15 years experience that you have garnered within the sector and the current position that you hold, what can the Ministry of Education do, and by extension the government, in your opinion, to improve learning?
I think the Ministry of Education, they're doing a fantastic job. They are trying their very best, and they're carrying out an extraordinary work despite the challenges of coping with a pandemic. Through their partners, they have endeavored to provide internet access to our schools. The ministry has rolled out the Educate Jamaica 2.0, which seeks to assist our students with the learning loss that they suffered as a result of being out of school for, let's say, the last 2 years. And so they have rolled out many online tools and resources for our teachers and our students. Training for teachers continues. And I'm happy that, we are in a position to go back to school. And so far, it is really helping our students. And, the gaps are being closed and they are being narrowed as a result of the face-to-face encounter at school. And so I think the ministry is doing a tremendous job, and we will continue to partner with them as we seek to educate the nation's children.
As you mentioned the pandemic just now, Mr. Simpson, we know that COVID-19 pandemic, it has basically been a struggle for a lot of people globally, not just in Jamaica, but on a worldwide scale. How would you say the teachers and specifically your students, and to also include the parents, how are they coping with the COVID-19 restrictions and the protocols, especially for like your grade 1 students?
So, Kashima, we have a very supportive group of parents. They're extremely committed and they understand the expectation, they understand the process that has to be undertaken to facilitate physical school. And they are abiding by the guidelines that we set out. They recognize too that the school is answerable to the Ministry of Education and also the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And so we operate on a blended approach where we have at any given time half of each class at school, with the exception of grade 6, of course, who has their exam coming up on the 22nd of February. And so this rotational approach where half of the students of a particular class is present at school and the other half is online allows for us to have that meaningful contact time with them at school. And our parents understand the value of that contact time. And so they do all that they can to work with the system that we are putting in place. We made some changes to our drop-off and our pickup areas, the transitional times, the break periods, and the idea of not playing in the schoolyard and sitting and having your break and lunch, that sort of thing. It has really benefited us as a school in the way we deliver our lessons, and at the same time honoring the guidelines that are set out by the Ministry of Health.
My research showed me that you can't help yourself. You basically teach in every area and everywhere you go. In preparing for this interview today, Mr. Simpson, my research shows that you have worked with even the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, EOJ, to facilitate training on election day for election day workers to ensure, there is a free and fair election. Talk to us about the significance of your role before and during an election.
Well, I must say I'm a proud Jamaican citizen, and I'm happy to be a part of the democratic process that exists here in our country. And for getting the opportunity to work with the EOJ is a wonderful opportunity for me to offer my services to my country in ensuring that, I play my part in ensuring that, as you said, one man, one vote, free and fair election. And, it's an opportunity to coordinate initiatives and to communicate the expectations of what it means to conduct yourself on election day, and ensuring that everybody understands their role and function, and that the process is carried out fairly and without bias or favor, being courteous, being polite, being respectful as you meet with the elector and so on and so forth. So yes, teaching has brought me far and wide, and I'm happy that my expertise is not limited to the classroom in terms of school, but also in other sectors where I can be of great value. I'm happy to serve wherever I can.
And you know that is just such a brilliant point, and I'm happy that you make it, because I know that you have some persons who are of the impression that, you know, teaching is not a profession that will churn out a hefty sum, and you may find some people steering clear of the profession. What would you say to those persons who are undecided, and then for others who are contemplating taking up a teaching position, going into the educational sector, because they too want to be of service in a meaningful way where they can impart knowledge?
So it's better to earn an honest living than not to earn or to be on the opposite end of that. And so teaching, Kashima, is a noble profession, and it is something that I believe that you need a calling. You know, it is as you're called and you respond to the call that you become a teacher. And if you are of the idea that, listen, I'm going into this because of the money, I would suggest that you think twice. Teaching comes with a passion. It comes with the understanding that a nation without a teacher will go nowhere. And so you are really fulfilling an essential part of the continued development of one society, and it is something that should be taken seriously. And to be a teacher is one of those things that you know, I would encourage some of our brilliant minds out there to take up. The remuneration will come, certainly. The thanks will come. I can tell you too, sometimes it is not so much the pay, but it is sometimes the feeling that you get when you see your students excel, when you see them become something of great significance in life. When you go to the police station to report something, is one of your students there at the desk. When you go to the bank, is one of the students that you thought is the bank teller. If you are stopped on the road, okay, it's Mr. Simpson, you know, that sort of thing. So I believe that there is a level of gratification that really comes with the profession. And so it is a wonderful thing for somebody to take up. Yes.
Now, you, based on what you have outlined for us, we can tell that you are not the normal or average principal who just does the work when you are at your school, but you come off as the type who is consistently working, preparing, planning, and going over and beyond for your school, and ultimately not only your students but also the parents. And you make mention of stakeholders as well. But life in itself is about creating that balance, and we all struggle every day to find that balance. You're also a husband and a father of 3. How do you find that balance between your professional life, volunteering, being an elder in your church, and ensuring that you are giving of yourself to your family?
Kashima, organizing oneself and organization is something that is very important. I believe that, you know, you have to know when to unwind. You have to know when school has dismissed. Admittedly, at times when I'm at home, Shanika would ask me when am I coming home, because I'm on the computer, probably setting up a Zoom link or in a
Still working.
conversation with my PTA president, or and she'd ask, so Mr. Simpson, when are you coming home? So I think it's important to find that balance. I think I have a good sense of balance. I'm happy for the Sabbath. I worship on the Sabbath, and it's an opportunity for me to spend time with my family and to worship God. The summers, we spent the summers camping, or we do a lot of traveling, and it brings a sense of rejuvenating the tank and preparing yourself for the next school year. And so I would I would say that there's fairly a good balance in the different things that I have to deal with.
What life lessons do you want your children to understand at an early age that you learned very late in life?
My children, I tell them every day that they should be true to themselves, that that they should give up their very best, and don't quit without trying. It was in high school and beyond that I learned certain things like that. So I try to tell them that, listen, don't quit before you try. Be true to yourself and autograph your work with excellence.
Those are some absolute positive words. How important is family on your road to success?
Family is very important, Kishima. My biggest fan is Shanika Hamilton. Seems my beautiful wife. She's a very supportive wife, and I thank God for her. My mother, Daisy, she did her part. My grandmother, my cousins, my brothers and sisters, they all did their part. And I would say without family, I would not be where I'm at today. They are always there to cheer me on. When there's a sad time, they are there to say chin up, and when there's time to celebrate, they are there to to celebrate with me. And so I value the family support. I take it seriously, and I'm really grateful to be blessed by a wonderful family who sees the potential in me and is cheering me on.
And finally, who knew 1 hour flew by absolutely so quickly? Finally, Mr. Simpson, your journey is testimony that with hard work, dedication, fearlessness, and an all-round academic brilliance, the possibilities are endless. What advice would you give to the person who believes that they are not from the right family to attain success?
What I would say is that success really begins with you. It is attitude based, and you have to be driven. You have to be intrinsically motivated. You have to conceptualize what is it that you want, and then you grind the wheel, you work the process, you go through the struggles in order to attain it. You don't have to come from a wealthy family. You don't have to have a paved road ahead of you. Understand that life will throw you curveballs, and you may come from humble beginnings, but life has a way of working itself out. It is what you put in is what you get out. I would say to that person, go for your goal. Never give up. Keep pushing, and you will realize your goal.
Mr. Simpson, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. We know it's a Thursday. It's also a school day. So we are truly appreciative that you were able to talk to us and, be so very candid and open. Already the messages are coming in through our WhatsApp line. Empress Tanya says, look here, just big up yourself. Very great interview. And Mr. Simpson, you are so disciplined and a well-motivated person. Rohan Johnson from Atlas Ochre says, very nice, interesting and informative interview. The messages are coming in. Mr. Simpson, Jason Simpson, you are a success story. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It may only be another minute.
Road to Success, the journey. Jason Simpson, an educator extraordinaire, a principal, and an astute leader. This person says, another inspirational overview, Queen Kish. Listening to this principal is really setting a standard for the role of principals, and they should adopt, even though the remuneration is not where they should be. Great interview. Pick up yourself, Mr. Simpson. Ricardo Portier said, big up to Jason Simpson,
And it's so easy, fear you get a big tip, or addicted, and a victim.
Chisholm and Friends for Life says, look here, I am always locked into Road to Success.
Couldn't go without.
This person said, what a journey. His life could have gone in so many different ways and he chose a positive path. Martha the Barber in Augustown says, Kishima, this was a great interview. Educational and informative. Education is the key to success. Stay there.
A success story, yeah, success.
Special afternoon, of course, to the students and teachers of the Golden Grove All-Age School in St. Anne.
A success story, I am a success story, yeah, success.
Carrie says, what an informative, motivational, productive interview. Big up yourself. You're a big deal, Mr. Simpson.
Oh yeah. Journey where we stay.
This one says, awesome job, well done.
From the place where we reside.
Nico Neek says, great job. Mess up yourself.
Yeah. So me have to celebrate my life, yeah.
Andrew out of Stepney, the original driver, locked in. He says, great interview.
Enough man,
It is now 1:30. Stick and stay. We'll see you on the flip side of this break.
Wendy's Super Deals. Get a junior cheeseburger combo, crispy chicken combo, wrap combo, or a 5-piece nuggets combo for only $550 each. The time by Wendy's is...
It is now 1:31.
Mosquitoes will breed in containers that hold water. Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, buckets, and tanks, or cover the water surface with cooking oil. Punch holes in all tins, plastic containers, and boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover old tires or fill with dirt. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs, and dispose of garbage by placing in plastic bags. Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Get your prescriptions filled stress-free at Lismel Pharmacy, conveniently located close to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital and Health Center. We stock most prescription items and take all major health cards. Lismel Pharmacy, Sunset Boulevard Plaza, 43 Main Street, St. Anne's Bay. Telephone 972-2504.
Recovery is a blend of natural herbs that will allow the brain to recover its peak memory and grant people freedom from various